What's going on, guys? Man, welcome to another episode of the Rob Van Harris podcast, guys. Listen, man, I'm excited. I'm so excited, guys. I'm excited, first and foremost, because I'm joined by my man, my brother, Jose today. You know what I mean? And, man, before we get into Jose and his story and tell you a little bit about his background and what he do, man, and the amazing, great exploits that he's doing out here in the world of real estate, man. For the people that's this your first time, maybe I'm joining the podcast, man. What we talk about here is wholeness in summary. You know what I mean? What we're about here is wholeness. I'm not really interested in basically just building up people as to how to make a whole bunch of money. I'm more so the guy that's focused on building up the overall man, right? The overall one man. And, because what that looked like for me is that if you basically get to the top of that mountain or whatever it is you're looking to achieve, rather it's financially, rather, it's $1 million or $1 billion, right? You get to the top of that mountain, but you have no peace. I mean, what was it all for? You know what I mean? Or let's just say you lost all the people who really have love for you, because you was just so busy chasing, that green dollar that you ended up losing the people who matter most in the process. So that's what I mean about wholeness, guys. You know what I mean? Mind, body, soul, financially, physically, mentally, spiritually, just being made whole in every area of your life, right? And it's a journey. A lot of us haven't arrived. Shoot, I haven't arrived. But I make sure that I position myself around great-minded individuals like this man that's sitting next to me today. And, man, this dude he's killing the game right now, man. So without further ado, I want to bring on my man, Jose, guys. What's going on, my brother?
Rob?
Man, listen, man. I'm keeping the shirt. I kept the intro short because I'm so excited, man. This is only an hour-long podcast. Okay. And I want to just jump into your story, man. Tell them just a little bit about who you are and what it is you do, man, in summary.
Okay. Yeah. So a little bit about me. My name is Jose Reyes, right? For those who don't know me. And, I'm in real estate full time. Started off as a nurse and I transitioned into door knocking, cold calling, and ended up getting my first deal while I was a nurse. And so then from there, ended up leaving, and now I'm doing real estate investing full time, just like yourself. I'm also a licensed agent here in Georgia. And again, like we are creative,
Yeah.
So we do a little bit of everything, whether it's fix and flips, hoteling, wholesaling, or focusing on reps.
I love it. Speaking of reps, man, one of the reasons why I wanted you to be one of the first people I brought onto the podcast because you and I did a small clip when we was out in Arizona.
Yeah.
On TikTok. Yeah. And you talked about raps for like maybe 20, 25 seconds, man. They blew that thing up, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was your charm, man, your looks, or whatever it was, but that thing blew up. And I said, look, I got to bring this brother on one of my first guests on my podcast to come on, man, and drop some gems, man.
Yeah.
I didn't know you was a nurse, dude.
Yeah, I was. It wasn't even that long. It was around 6 months, as a nurse working at a hospital. And let me tell you this too. I mean, I ended up getting my real estate license during the nursing program.
Okay.
So, I already had that in my mind that I wanted to do some real estate, you know. So yeah, I decided to make that decision, once I started working as a nurse.
I love that, man. I love that. So from nurse to real estate investor, talk a little bit about your journey, man, like where you started up to where you're at now. And just what is it exactly are you currently doing now versus where you started?
Okay. Yeah, for sure. So I want to say this because I know it's going to relate to some of you out there that, my first problem whenever I was thinking about getting into real estate was no money, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people can relate, right? I'm not going to be able to I don't want to get into real estate because I don't have any money. How am I going to buy the property if I don't have any capital, right?
Yeah.
So, good stuff is that my parents did have money for them to lend me on my deals, right? So they were basically my private money lenders at that time, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because
that's dope.
I'll go ahead and talk about this one deal that I did when I was working at the hospital. I did have a person that knew that I was buying houses, so I was interested in buying, and so they told me that this lady needed some help in trying to, sell the property because the city put a lien on it, right? So I ended up calling the lady, and we agreed on, I want to say $22,000, right? And so then, right, my mindset was like, okay, I don't have money, but my parents do have money, right? So I asked them permission. They were able to help me out. And so we purchased the property, right? Okay. Again, I was still a nurse, right? I was working 3 days a week, shifts, 12-hour shifts, right? So we purchased the property. And then I actually found my buyer. I was going to, go ahead and sell it. I wasn't going to worry about the renovations because I didn't want to, increase my expenses, right? Yeah. So found my buyer on the day that I actually bought it and sold it, and made around $30,000 in profit. No renovations or anything like that.
So you really didn't even have to buy it, because if you would have just held out maybe a day or two, you would have already, the buyer would have. Wait, so when you purchased, did it hit the MLS?
No, it wasn't even on the market.
Did the buyer? Where did you find the buyer?
Yeah, so I found the buyer because I knew that the buyer had like some sort of company nearby, and knowing stuff about that person, I knew that this location would be good for them. Okay. Right. And I got lucky. They were interested in the location, right? And so, we ended up selling it at $55,000. $55,000, and you picked it up for around 22. Yeah, around there. Man, I know for sure it was like at least a 30K profit. Ended up paying my mom with some interest on it too. Yeah. And so that was just my wake up call, as a nurse, and I just got more digging and more researching, and later on I just put the trigger and ended up leaving, and now I'm here, doing fix and flips, and which we'll get into that. But that's the intro.
Okay. Yeah. We got a little bit of time here. We have a little bit of time here, guys. Look, quick. So we do Q&A at the end of the segment, basically, right? And if you want to come and during the podcast, place your comments for Jose or myself. And if you someone that want to come and join the podcast and jump on stage with us to ask your questions, just when I make the announcement towards the ends, just raise your hand. Me, just type in me. Okay, just quick FYI. But yeah, man. So nurse, found your first deal. Went ahead, flipped it. Then you took it down, made about $30,000. What was next?
So I was looking up more mentors online because I think that's felt back at that time. I felt like that's what I needed the most. Okay, someone that could guide me to knowing what's the easiest way. Obviously, there's no easy way, but what's one way to raise capital, get more deals, basically, right? Yeah. And so I ended up meeting a partner of mine. I don't know, Chris Neer, right? From North Dakota. Okay.
It sounds familiar.
From the community. Okay. Yeah. So I ended up door knocking for him, right? Okay. So my job was to door knock pre-foreclosure lists and to, help these homeowners in providing solutions so that way they can either keep their house or sell their house. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And, I did that, and we ended up closing some deals from that, so there I ended up getting enough money in order for me to do my own stuff, my own deals, like, fix and flips and a little more of the wholesaling side of things too. So yeah, that's where we're at right now.
Wholesaling.
Yes.
What is wholesale?
So wholesaling is basically whenever you get it under contract, right? And you do end up buying it rather than wholesaling. And wholesaling, the title never goes under your name, right? But in wholesaling, it does, because you actually buy it and you only do a little bit of cosmetic repairs, right? Enough for the investor to be interested in it, so that way you can, sell it at a higher price, right?
Why would so? That's where I was getting to. For the people that don't understand the difference between wholesaling and wholesaling, why would you hotel versus wholesale? What's the benefits?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you know, but with wholesaling, there are some risks there, right? A lot more moving pieces that you don't have control of. But once it's under your name, you have more control of the deal, and also plus the end buyer won't see your profit on the wholesale deal, but they will see it on the wholesale deal. So that's something you gotta consider.
So okay. That's good. Because so you were mainly assigning contracts, I take it.
No, I never wholesale, but I did a lot of that wholesaling just because of that the profit.
The profit. So I know. So when I used to do a lot of wholesaling as well, and I started doing the.
And you're an agent, right?
Yeah.
Agents can wholesale. Just want to put that out
there. Yeah. So here's the thing. Technically, you can, if you wholesale, the way that the buyer, when he's referring to the buyer, is going to see your profit is if you assign your contract. It's something that's called the HUD sheet, right? Or an ALTA, that it's line items. And at the bottom on that second page, they will be able to see your assignment fee. It will literally list it. Like if Jose assigned to me a contract, I will see his assignment fee on that HUD sheet. But for a person like me, I don't care how much Jose is making as long as I'm making my profit. As long as my numbers is right, I never count the next man's pockets. However, if I do what's called the double closing, and I do an A to B contract between, so if Jose is the wholesaler, he basically would do this. He would sell the property to me. That's considered the A to B contract. And then he would then turn around. He would put the seller under contract, right? That's first. That's the A to B contract. Then he would turn around and then sell it to me on what we call the B to C portion of the contract. That way, the end buyer, me, will not be able to see Jose's assignment, right? So Jose can get away with me not knowing exactly as to how much he made. You know what I mean? So it's a safer way. We refer to it as a double close. And a lot of closing attorneys will do it. Sometimes you have to get what's called transactional funding, meaning that he would need to go to a lender to fund the A to B transaction, and then he would turn around an hour later and then sell it to me on a B to C transaction. You know, that's what we refer to as a double close.
Yeah, and then the tail in the hotel word means listing it on the market for the retail price.
Yeah,
in this condition too. Just want to put that out there.
Yeah, so the retail price. So the retail price versus wholesaling. So you're saying that you would list it on the market for the retail price. Why?
For the retail price?
Mm-hmm.
Because then, the investors are going to be my buyer and they're always going to be negotiating down, right?
Yeah.
But obviously you would only wholesale if the numbers make sense. If you make it right, and for the safety of it too. But yeah, I would list it on the market, right? And just hope for the best, obviously because it's going to be more public, right?
Uh-huh.
For someone who does have a list of investors already in their pocket, then you may not even list it on the market, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
in summary though, you get a lot more money.
Mm-hmm.
You get a whole lot more money because you have a wider variety of buyers. Me, if I have, let's say 20,000 buyers, it's still not compared to what you can, the amount of eyes you're going to get on that property versus putting it on the MLS. The MLS is the biggest buyers list out there in the game.
It is.
I mean, that's one of the secrets, guys. I just dropped the gem on y'all. Like, the MLS is literally the biggest buyers list right now in the game. So if you are in position to be able to take these properties down, what he's saying is that you can then pop it on the MLS, the biggest buyers list in the industry right now, and you'll get more money than what you would trying to keep it off market and marketing that property to maybe a few buyers.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah. And also the other thing too is that you like I was saying before, you have control of your profit too, because in the wholesaling you're gonna have to talk with the seller. Hey, are you able to wiggle down anymore? Because you can get in those type of situations when you're wholesaling that you might not even get a profit out of it because of your numbers.
Yeah.
But once you own it, you're in control of the profit.
I love that. I love that. And oh man. So listen, guys. We know without a question or a doubt that you've done a whole lot of wholesaling, right? I want to get into, I seen you post something up to where you were on Facebook. I think it was on Facebook. It was in our community.
Yes.
You did a post one email led to like a huge deal for you. Let's talk a little bit about that deal and how you came across that deal and how you making these large profits.
Yes. So I was driving for dollars, which, basically you pick an area in your city and you just drive around looking for houses that are vacant, abandoned, or, been neglected over time.
Okay.
Like for example, tall grass, boarded up windows, stuff like that. So I ended up skip tracing one house in particular because, if you didn't know, we had a hurricane recently and we're in South Georgia. I forgot the name of it. But yeah, a lot of houses were in bad condition, right? And so I ended up trying to figure out who owned the property. And so looked up the phone numbers on truepeoplesearch.com, which is basically a free online
the sites and
phone book.
Huh? All right, yeah.
Right? A free online phone book, right? Truepeoplesearch.com.
Okay.
It works. You can still get deals from there.
True People Search, yeah. It's free.
I'm familiar with that, right?
Yeah. I know about it. It's free.
It's free. So yeah, I ended up calling all the numbers that the site gave me, and none of them worked. Most of them were inactive. So I found that there were some emails there, 2 emails. So I emailed both of them, right, just to see if it worked. Because I've heard like some of these emails are inactive, right? It's people that haven't used them for a long time. So I ended up emailing them, and then it's crazy. 15 minutes later, they emailed me back saying that they were interested in selling their house. And what was my offer? Obviously we don't give blind offers.
Correct.
So just from there, we switched contacts, got on the phone, set up an appointment, locked it up, ended up buying it. And we actually bought it and then sold it just like similar like the last deal we talked about, no renovations or nothing. Just bought it low and sold it high.
What was high?
Okay. So
come on, brother. We on the Rob Van Harris podcast. We got to give out the truth and nothing but the truth.
Okay. So I ended up getting it. I ended up buying it for $6,000. Right, a house on the land. Right, a brick home. The roof was caved in. Right. But ended up selling it for $6,000, and we closed it at 39,000. I sold it at 39.
Wait a minute. How long?
Within a month.
Within a month?
Yes, within a month.
30 days?
Yeah.
So you bought a house for $6,000.
Yes, sir.
Seller was good, willing, ready, and able. The seller was in agreement with it. You didn't have to, cut off no fingers and nothing to get the price.
No.
Okay. And then you took it down. You purchased this property.
Yes, sir. They saw. I mean, the value I was providing to them, right, is that they had a problem on their hands, and that they were in the house when the hurricane happened, and so I told them about a place where they could go, and so they ended up going, and I guess they saw that I was taking it off their hands, right, and so I guess they saw that value in it, and then we did negotiate, but we came down at $6,000, and they were in agreement, and they're on another journey. They bought it in their house, so I'm happy for them.
That's the way, man. That's the way to go. Everybody win.
Yeah.
Everybody win. So you basically, in his purpose, you help. See, people think, I don't know what it is about investors. Some people have a stigma when it comes to investors.
Yeah. Like
we just these sharks, you know what I mean? Out here, predatory.
Yeah.
Investing.
I hear that a lot from people who don't know much about investing. I mean, as investors, I mean, we're not saying not all investors are bad. Right, but you're supposed to be pretty good. Treat people the same as you should be treated. Right, the golden rule.
That's right. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, whether you're selling a distressed situation or not, we're all humans. That's right. And we're here to try to provide value to them, adjusting to the situations. Right.
That's right.
And we are trying to. This is a business for us.
That's right.
But if I'm able to help them and lose money, then I would do it, just because it makes me feel good, right? But yeah, I feel like, again, saying what you were saying, that there are investors out there that are greedy, and those are out there, but
that's the truth. That's the truth. I mean, here's the thing, man. In any business, though, you're gonna have your good, you're gonna have your bad. I don't care if it's a restaurant business, right? They have a score on those windows for a reason, right?
True.
Some are great scores. Some of those scores are scores like, hey, I think I probably want to go to the next restaurant down the street versus stopping here, right? Because the scores are not so good. And what I believe is this, like, When you out here conducting business in an unethical manner and you're taking advantage of people or whatever like that, and you're doing dirty business, what I always tell people, especially when you're in your backyard doing business, virtual anywhere, like you think of Georgia as being a huge state, right? But I tell people all the time, like when it comes to our industry, all the players know the players.
Mm-hmm.
So if you tarnish your brand or your reputation, it's only a matter of time before you just get that, you ruin your brand. And once you ruin your brand, no amount of money you make can come back from that. So it's huge, but it's real small when it comes to our industry, because once you start getting a reputation for somebody that's known for doing bad business, rather it's to other investors, rather it's to sellers, rather it's to agents, what happens is everybody can't be lying, man. You know what I mean? And I just believe that you have a choice. You have a choice when going into these deals. Then that's why I said in the beginning, is I'm not in the business of trying to teach people just how to make a bunch of money and bringing people on here talking about all the deals that they're doing and how they making all this money. Because if you teach a lot of people the stuff that we know and their character is already flawed, what is money going to do?
Wow.
All money going to do is basically increase the problems that individual already has.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why I love this platform, because, and I started this platform to say, every time I get the question now, Rob, how do I do this? I can now bring those questions to this platform and get them answers to that, but I'm more so focused on where are we at far as your thinking first, because I'm a true believer that most people live wrong because they think wrong. And if we change our thinking, we can change our lives, man. That's just literally one of my favorite quotes.
Yeah.
You hear what I'm saying? Because here I am, somebody, and I'm a prime example. I'm from, the hood. You know what I mean? My mom did the best she could with me and my brothers, right? And, I wouldn't say we was dirt poor, but, having to boil water, water on the stove, you know what I mean? The dump in the bathtub a bunch of times to just get a hot tub wasn't normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And certain things that I see now, and I'm like, dang, yeah, we was poor. You see what I'm saying? But yet and still, what I'm getting at is that I didn't start making a change and start really seeing true transformation in my life and my finances until I changed my thinking. See, once I changed my thinking and stopped being a victim and stopped being the person that want to blame everybody else for my downfalls. Oh, I wasn't properly educated in the Philadelphia school districts. They statistically, I've seen something like, a lot of people, from where, I'm not going to get into that, but just when I started just really applying myself, getting up, getting out, doing the work, you know what I mean? Working out, because, the working out really was a game changer for me, because when I started going to the gym, just the way it would make me feel would prepare me for my day. You know what I mean? So when I would leave the gym and start my day, like I'm fired up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
the dopamine and the adrenaline.
The dopamine and exactly. And what happens is when you realize, it's like with anything, you do it for a week, and if you could cross over from a week to 30 days, what happens is now it becomes a lifestyle. So me coming into this office every day and getting busy on these phones is nothing out of the ordinary, because it's literally a lifestyle to me. I said something on the video that I posted yesterday. I said, people like you and me can make that $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 today. But where are you going to be at tomorrow?
Me?
Yeah.
Tomorrow?
If you made $50,000 right now today, what would you do? What would you do tomorrow?
I mean, to be honest, I'd invest it. I'd fight the urge to spend it and just go and invest it. That way I can have more capital to spend it on whatever I want.
And of course, that's it. You heard Jose, guys. I'm going to invest it. I'm not going to take it and go buy the latest Rolex. I'm not going to take that money and go buy, the whatever is the hottest car out right now, the BMWs, the Beamers, the Corvettes.
Like we're not even in that mindset to even worry about that.
It's like
we gotta work.
I just made $50,000, and I'm gonna go ahead and invest a portion of this back into my business, right?
Yes, sir.
And now I can take the remainder to maybe invest into a sub-2 property or something that's going to make money for me and not take money from me.
Oh yeah.
Because eventually we all want to go from the place of working in our business to own our business.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's the ultimate goal. With that being said, man, talk a little bit more about. So I know we talked about the hoteling, right? We talked about the fix and flips that you're doing. What would you say to somebody that's looking to get into the real estate game, whether they new or they just currently stuck in their career right now and they just kind of hit a ceiling, and they're looking to break through? What advice would you give that person?
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's small but very monumental. Just find someone that knows what you're doing and is doing it better than you. Just be an apprentice under them. Work under them, and you will learn. Provide value to them, and sooner or later you'll become at their level.
Oh my gosh, yes, that's so valuable right there. That's so much value you just now say. I know it was a short little quote, but if you, because here's how I can relate to that so much. When I would go on podcasts, rather it was Get Creative Podcast, Deal Machine Podcast. I've been on a few podcasts, right? People would come to my inbox, or whether they just found me on social media. And I told you, people would be like, hey, man, I love what you're doing. You know what I mean? Your vibe attract your tribe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, right? So I would get inboxes and I would just say, look, this is what we can do. I don't have no coaching program right now. I don't have my man. That's my man. That's Mondo.
Yeah.
Mondo. Hey guys, if y'all could keep those up for me a little bit longer so I can at least read them, that would help me out a lot. I appreciate y'all. The bros. He said, wins you got done today. Yes, what's the wins you got done today? I love that, man. What wins you got done today?
I would say starting the personal branding and being on social media, like being here.
Yes.
That's a start. It's my first podcast, I'm so excited to start that, being on social media more often.
And that's the beauty you get to have. That's the privilege you get to have having your own podcast. You get to basically bring on the up and coming shining stars. You know what I mean? Like the rising stars. Like I know this individual. I know this man, and I'm telling you, the love he have and the respect that he has for, because like when sometimes it's like a crab in a basket mentality. It's like you an investor, you a crab, you climbing out, you getting higher. I want to pull you back down. A crab in a basket mentality. I'm like, well, what's up with that? Like when you see somebody that's running, even though you're doing the similar strategy of what I'm doing, why can't I celebrate you? Why can't I find out? In fact, I always want to come along and find out how I can add value to you. Every time me and you talk, one of my main questions, what can I do to add value to you, brother? When you were sitting at that restaurant with your man, right?
Yeah.
One of the questions, what was that? What I say? It was like, let you know what I do. You let me know. I was like, how can I add value to you?
Yeah. And we exchanged words and helped each other,
And we've been in touch since.
Yeah. Now we're here. Literally, we met at a restaurant. Hey, what you doing? It's just for there. And now we're here,
And I don't understand, like, the power. That's what this trophy is about right here. This little whatever you want to call it, man. This symbolization. It's a symbolization of relationship, right? Relationship. My whole business was built off of relationships, man. Mondo that just popped up, man. I got to get you on here too, Mondo. Let's talk, brother. He's always supportive.
Yes.
He always just one of them people that's just always just a go-giver. And you was always that same way. I'm that same way. So what happens is when you're like that, and it ain't even like you're faking or pretending to do this. Like it's just naturally, genuine. I want to see my brothers in the industry win. I want to see my friends win. Why do somebody have to lose in order for you to win?
Yeah, just got to be genuine with each other, I always think that like you ain't never going to grow a business if you're bad in heart. Right, because in order for you to grow your business, you need to have that heart that is willing to help others. Because there's a Bible verse in there where it says that if you help others, and you'll grow as a person, and you're basically lifestyle, right? So it's really necessary.
Yeah, man, I totally agree. And just to drive home what I was saying about your point and what you talked about, why I said it was so viable is because relationships, when I first, started really doing some volume and wholesaling years back, I didn't have to look far to find the buyers. I didn't have to look far. I was already in relationships with buyers. So when I made my first $30,000 deal, all I had to do was just lock the property up. Literally, I did have to utilize stress, so it really was like a hotel.
Okay.
I really did have to fund the deal, but then I turned it right back around, sort of like you did on your deal, and sold it to one of my friends.
What was the profit of that?
Like $30-something thousand. Same thing. That's how I was getting. Yeah, it's $30-something. I was, bro, and I was living in a hotel at that time too, so that was game changing for me. Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So that leads me to my next question. What are the things that you're currently doing out, in regards to the real estate, in regards to just the industry period? What are you doing right now to where you can add value to people and people can come and add value to you? What do that look like if somebody wanted to come do a deal with you? What are the exit strategies that you're currently utilizing to where they can maybe bring a deal to you, or you can help them with a deal along those lines?
Yeah. So the fix and flips is my main focus right now. So if anyone, down in South Georgia is nearby, DM me. My contact will be somewhere in there.
Yeah, it'll be attached to this.
And I can send you my buy box, meaning stuff that I'm looking at, what areas I'm looking at and buying, and like what the conditions and the criteria basically of what I'm looking to invest in. And obviously we'll get you paid. So that would be something where the value comes in. And if we're talking about you have some money in the bank, right? And you want to learn how to invest, and you have a W-2 job, so you don't have the time to do some real estate. So, one thing I'm trying to get started is for people to invest their money with me, and that way they'll be able to work their money and also learn from the deals that we're going to be collaborating on together. Mm-hmm. So, you're basically going to be working at your W-2 and learning real estate as the project goes on, and you're also earning interest on that money that you lended on. I feel like that's pretty good,
I love that. I do the same thing.
You do?
So
okay.
Yeah. So when I don't know if I said this earlier, because sometimes I get so excited I don't drive home the point. That's one of the things I was saying earlier is that when people was coming to me and asking me if I didn't already say this, guys, just in case I didn't already say this, I'm gonna say it again. People was asking me, "Hey, you coaching, mentoring?" And I'm like, "Look, let's go find a deal. Let's do a deal together. Bring me a deal." And I'll walk you through the whole process. I'll show you what I'm doing, how I have my contractors in alignment, where we're buying our material from, how I don't buy all these properties we're purchasing right now. I don't buy any of it with my own money. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yep. Those buyers and stuff that I was talking about that I had relationships with, it was sort of like what you were talking about earlier, servanthood and just basically adding value to people. A lot of those people are my lenders now. Those clients of mine at the time, they're my lenders now.
Wow.
You know what I mean? They like, look, I was talking about last week on the podcast how a friend of mine was getting ready to run into some money. And she came to me like maybe a couple months before she was getting ready to run into the money. She said, "Hey, bro, I want to get ready to run into some money and I want to invest." And I asked her, I said, "How do you want to invest?" Mm-hmm. And I gave her like 5 different options. Long story short, she picked option, the lender, to be a lender option. And when she ended up lending me some money. It was something small, maybe like $150,000. Since then, that was probably like over 4 or 5 years ago. She's a full-blown lender now, but she's only my lender for my company, but she makes a lot of money.
Yeah, we're doing nothing
from just pressing a button.
Send.
She has a full-blown lending business, something she didn't even know about. And when I told her about this, she was like, this is impossible, because she was talking about probably going back and being a full-time real estate agent, buying leads and things like that. And she tried it, and she was like, "This is not my thing no more."
So you said she was a client, right?
She was a client of mine, yeah.
So what was your job?
She was.
What was she doing at the time?
She was doing like an accountant or something along those lines.
Wow.
Yeah, she was like an accountant, and then she retired from there, and then because she ran into a boatload of money. Long story short, she ran into a boatload of money, and she started this and been doing this full time ever since.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, she came to me recently and was told me like the amount of deals we did, like between like 2022 to now, I couldn't believe it. Because with us, man, we in the field, like we grinding, like we ain't really. I mean, of course, I had profit and loss sheets, and I had people, accountants, and everything to where I meet with, every month and go over numbers. But like I tell people, like I'm more so in the field. That's why I don't really have I can't right now. And the whole coaching thing was never a good fit for me because I'm still in a portion of my career to where I'm grinding, and I don't want to become enslaved to anything outside of what I'm doing right now. Like my focus. I learned that focus is very important. And when I used to have the shiny object syndrome thing, trying to do this and do that, and do I have the ability to coach? Yes. Do I have the experience? Am I knowledgeable enough to coach within this era, within this arena? Yeah. But I don't want to I knew, especially this year, I knew I had to lock in.
Why?
Because I knew that I was getting ready to try to accomplish something that was so big, you know what I mean, that it was going to position not only me and my current family, but for my kids to come. And I had to be all in on this, and I couldn't let nothing deter me from the journey that I was getting ready to embark on.
Smart. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just getting focused, man, and locking in on that one thing. And man, I'm having a heck of a year right now. Right?
Yeah, so you said a good thing too about focus. I would say focus is like the number one thing in order to achieve something, right? You can't move far if you're focused on different things, right?
Yeah.
Like you were saying, the shiny object syndrome is real, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, on the other hand, if you have your focus on one thing, you have no reason, no excuse to not make it, right?
Yeah.
So I agree with what you just said.
Yeah, I agree, man. What you doing in regards? Tell me a little bit about these wraps. It was one of the subjects we talked about on my TikTok, and it blew up. What is a wrap, and how do you go about finding a wrap opportunity?
So it's a complicated thing, right? But I would not recommend any beginner to do it on their own, especially if it's your first time. Okay. Right? Find someone else who knows how to do it and learn it that way, because there's a lot of risks there involved, some legal issues you can come across. Okay. So what a rep is, there's mortgages out there, right? There's people out there making mortgage payments, and also there are some loans out there that really have a good interest rate, right? Really low, like in the 2, 3, 4s. You can't get that anywhere else, right? So what we did was we ended up getting it under contract, and we were going to buy this property subject to the existing loan, right? Meaning that the title is going to be under our name, but the loan is going to stay in the seller's name, right? You can do that, right? So we were going to purchase this property subject to, and basically the interest rate, the monthly payments, and then the purchase price, right? So I'm just going to throw some numbers out there. I think we purchased one property for $120,000, right? And then the interest rate was 3%, again, just estimation here. Okay. And then the monthly payments were like $700, right? So that's what we came into the deal with. Okay. So what we decided to do, and what, this is an exit strategy you could do. What we decided to do is wrapped our own terms on it, right? You hear the word wrap. We wrapped our own terms. So the interest, we sold the property, seller financed, with the purchase price being from $120 to $175. So right there, boom, in there, you got instant equity. Okay. Right. Okay. And then you got the interest rate. We sold it at 3%. So right there, you got long-term profit coming in from the interest. And then we charge.
Real quick, wait.
Go ahead.
3%? You sold it at 3%?
No. We sold it at 8%.
At 8%. Yeah. Okay, but you had it at 3%.
To 8%. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. So and then the monthly payments we did. I think we ended up doing it at $1,600, and the buyers were okay with it. They were really used to that monthly payment, and they couldn't get a loan from a bank. So, which again, most of the people that are going to be going into wrap purchases are going to be people that cannot be qualified from a bank due to their credit score or whatever financial reason, right? So we had a down payment of $30,000, right? And there are some times where like you are like, what, let's say $10,000 into a deal, you paid the attorney to close the deal, you paid the agent commission, if any, and you did some renovations to the house. So let's say it was $10,000, but if you flipped it around, wrapped your own terms on top of it, and asked for a $30,000 down payment, and someone brings it to you, a buyer does that, you already have a profit up front,
up front,
and then profits every month, right? That the buyer is making payments, and then you got that instant equity,
and you can actually wrap the actual lifetime of the loan, the term of the loan, meaning that if you took over a 30-year term and it was maybe, let's just say 25 years remained in, you can actually give that person, the wrap buyer, a 30-year term, right?
Yep.
Because
you're basically
the bank.
Yeah, you're basically the middleman, the bank. You're setting your own terms,
Yeah.
and the buyer's gonna have to agree to that, right? Not the bank from the previous seller.
Guys, I hope that is so. What I try to do too, because I know my audience, right, and I know a lot of my audience are newer investors.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. A lot of them are still wholesaling, but then I still have a lot of people that also follow my movement and they're full blown into the fix and flip already.
Yeah.
So what I try to do is I want this show to be about to think bigger, right? Outside of the box. If we're already flipping, again, there's nothing wrong with staying focused on flipping. I told you, I cut a lot of stuff out with traveling and things this year because I wanted to focus in on a certain portion of my business because I knew I had to be there in order to make this possible.
For sure.
But there's nothing wrong with learning other exit strategies.
Oh yeah.
Because when you learn, the more you learn, the more tools you add to your tool belt.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just like with anything you do, the more tools you have within your tool belt and the more exit strategies you have, should I say, it puts you in a position as an investor to be able to solve way more problems.
Yeah, because you think about it, a traditional real estate agent is only going to know until it's on the market, right? And that's the only tool they have in their toolkit, so they can't really provide the value to the homeowner, right?
Yeah.
And as someone who does have a lot of tools in their toolkit, for example, if there was a licensed investor, they're able to provide more solutions to the homeowner.
Correct. I love that. What time are we on?
7:40.
7:40. Hey guys, what questions do y'all have for my brother Jose? What questions do y'all have for me? We're going to be wrapping this up in about another 15, 20 minutes, guys, and I want to get all y'all answers to y'all questions, right? And man, we just having a good time with this, man. This is so fun for me, man, and because I know without a question or a doubt that the whole reason I'm even on social media, bro, I told you my wife and my kids had to push me to start doing social media.
Really?
You know what I mean? Because we're fat. You know what I mean? Fat from an educational perspective regarding real estate, and it's like I'm too much of a giver.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not, I said it earlier, it's what's the point of sitting at the top of the mountaintop? You know what I mean? And swimming to the top of your lungs. I made it. You know what I mean? And you're a millionaire, billionaire, whatever that goal is, but you have nobody to share it with.
True.
You know what I mean? Or you lost your peace in the process, or you lost the people who matter most in the process of that.
Yeah, and I respect you because I've been seeing you on social media too. And like the most thing that stands out to me is that you have your family doing the work with you.
Yes, sir.
So you're taking them along the journey too,
Yes, sir. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, because I mean, I've been at it now. I've been at this thing now for about a little over 19 years now, man. And my boys, they've been around it since, because I told you I started out an investor. I purchased my first property when I was 20 years old. And then I only went to go get my license so that I can sell my own real estate. Because the guy who I had as my real estate agent, he didn't even come down to where I was buying my properties at the time, to say the least, to even sell them. He was sending me to show the house. So I'm like, I'm showing the house. I'm pretty much selling the house. What am I paying you for?
Yeah.
So this was back in the day when we just used to have the combination lockbox, right? So he would literally just say, hey, you got a showing at this time, you have a showing at that time. I was already down there anyway, so I'm like, cool, I'll be there.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally the reality of traditional agents. I mean, I don't know, they can either negotiate for you, they can show you the house, right? And that's literally it. And they just do the paperwork, But as an investor agent, they would really go down to the gritty numbers and tell you all the options, what your profit is going to be in each option, you know, and it just makes it more easier for them, to decide what option is best for them.
I love that.
Here,
go ahead.
I was going to say, hold on. Okay, I'll read the question first. If someone answers the door for a home you want to buy, what do you say when they answer? So every scenario is different, right? There is no perfect script.
Mhm.
But like I said before, at the end of the day, we're all humans. So as long as you are respectful up front and get the point across, it's gonna be fine. They are not gonna, from my experience, no one has, told me to get out. I've had doors slammed on my face before,
Yeah.
right? But again, don't think the worst, right? So what I would say is, hey, so this is what I would say.
Okay.
Hey, I noticed this house was vacant. Is there any chance that you're thinking of selling it in the near time future? Not
Mhm.
now, right? Don't say now.
Mhm.
In the near time future, that way they can be more at ease when responding, right?
Mhm.
And then just start from there. You're probably gonna find someone that's gonna want to sell the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, and we was leading it because we tapped on it earlier and he touched on it, but he really didn't do a deep dive on it because most of your deals come from,
I would say door knocking. Yeah.
door knocking.
Yeah, door knocking.
Ooh,
and
you're scared of that.
Yeah, I would say door knocking is like the best way, hands down, to get a deal, right? Because you are not competing with anyone else, because when it comes to cold calling, you're assuming you're online. And when you're online, you're competing with the 50 states, right? You're competing with people online. But if you're just driving for dollars and just go door knock, right? Like you're already getting the freshiest leads out there before they even go on Google Maps, right? So yeah, I would say door knocking is pretty great. Simple, easy, not cost effective, right? You're not paying for a third party software to provide you the leads or the list, but you're literally just paying for the gas to drive around in your town looking for the deals.
Wow. Door knocking. Quick story. When I first crossed over from Philadelphia to Atlanta, I told you I had ended up catching a bad break because the house we were supposed to move into fell through. So that's why me and my family had to go to the hotel.
Gotcha.
So when I say we were living in a hotel, I didn't move from Philadelphia just to move to a hotel. I wasn't on no stuff like that.
Yeah.
The house fell through. But I said to my wife, the plan was to open back up a contracting business that we had back in Philadelphia. And I said, you know what? No, we're not going to open that back up. We're just going to focus on real estate. You know what I mean? We're going to lock in. And I want to focus on, because here's the beauty of it. It's us. And if it's a fire, we can go put it out. We don't have to go depend on nobody else to go put that fire out. I just want it to be a me and you business, things that we can focus on. We just going to lock in and go hard. Me and my wife and my mom at the time, dude, we locked in. And what we did from the hotel, remember, I came to the brokerage that I was under at that time.
Yeah.
And the first thing I did is I went to the agents to ask if I can host an open house, right? So I remember my first open house. I literally remember this like it was yesterday. She ended up allowing me to host the open house. And when I went there, the day of the open house, it was this little blue box on the door. And I'm like, what is this blue box? Like, where's the combination code?
Yeah.
Because I'm from Philly. I told you, I'm old school. I'm used to the combination when you pressing the buttons.
Yep.
So I called the agent. I'm like, hey, how do I get in this box? Like, there's no code on it. They like, it's a super. You have to use your super key. I'm like, what is a super key? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
She literally had to come down in the middle of the time I'm supposed to be holding an open house and open the door for me, right? But during that, leading up to that open house, as embarrassing as that was, I'm like, man, I gotta get caught up to speed, man. Like they ain't even using combination lock boxes no more. This is what I did. I went and I had flyers.
Okay.
So I would go make flyers for my open houses. And I would go out, because it's a bunch of subdivisions here in Atlanta, Georgia, right? I would go to the whole subdivision and I would knock on the door and I would invite them to the open house. Let them know, hey, we're going to have like refreshments. Hey, I'm the agent for the house down the street. We're going to be having an open house this weekend. We'd love for you to attend the open house. We're going to have light refreshments, waters, things like that. We'd love to meet you. If you know anybody looking in the area, I would love for you to stop by. And here's the thing. Oh, while I'm at it, do you know of anyone that may be looking to sell their home? You'd be surprised, bro, how many people I got to say, yeah, I do. My first listing came from a yes, I do. I said, who? She said, me. I got my first listing in that very subdivision where I did my first open house.
How many flyers?
I would make maybe about 200.
Wow.
200 flyers.
Yep.
Yeah, I would do about 200, maybe 250 flyers, because the average subdivision is going to be like, especially around here, dude, it's gonna be like 170, 200 plus. You know what I mean? And I would knock every door. You know what I mean? Just invite them to that. So that was just it was my intro, it was my opening pitch to be able to ask them for business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And here you go, you just bold. You just
door knocking. Yeah. And because you really think about it, you're not, I mean, like I was saying before, comparing emailing, SMS, text, and the PPCs and PPLs, right?
Mm-hmm.
The door knocking, you're literally going straight to where they're at. So like you're skipping all this, I sent you a text, there's a chance of you're never gonna get back with me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that could be a loss of a potential deal. So, going door knocking, you're literally going straight to them. Again, we're not like trying to be sneaky or anything like that, We're just trying to see if they're interested in selling too. And we're not just aiming at random people out there, right? We're going through people that, they may have a problem and we're just over there trying to provide the solution to them on their doorsteps.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I do that and guys, listen, if y'all have questions, love that Jose said. Love that Jose says in the near future and not want to sell your home right now. So it's saying basically in the near future,
because obviously there's a stranger at the front door,
Correct.
First thing is to the first thing they want to do is just close the door. But sorry to interrupt you. Sorry to pop up unannounced on your doorstep. I'm just here trying to see if you're interested in selling that property in the near future.
That's right.
And just stop talking.
That's it.
No, and don't say, I would say my name after that, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's the first thing. You want their guard to be down as soon as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you're really closing deals utilizing this strategy.
Yeah.
Door knocking.
Yeah.
You're closing deals.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What that look like for you, like on an average month? Like how many deals are you and your team closing?
So this month in May, I know we're closing one next week, and we're selling my flip next week also. Mm-hmm. I would possibly say 1 or 2 a month. Again, I'm from a small town, so my numbers aren't as big as here in Atlanta.
Of course,
right?
but that's here. 1 or 2. Listen, man, that would be that's life changing for a lot of people that's going to hear this, because I was talking to an agent earlier, and she was telling me she haven't gotten a deal off the ground in 1 or 2 months.
So what's her marketing? Like, what's she doing?
I didn't get too much into it. I was there to see a house she wanted to show me, but she was saying that, you know what I mean?
There's no deals out there, huh?
2024, man, a lot of people, man, it had a bad experience with the market, man. My man Randy, he said, time to get my polo and good walking shoes ready to go knock some doors this weekend. I love it. That's my guy right there, man.
Just do it. There's no reason why you shouldn't. If you really want to get into real estate, the just easy way, just in your local town, before you start purchasing, third-party softwares or whatever, like Propsting, Leads, Deal Sauce.
Yes.
Just try it the free way, and you'll be surprised of what results will come upon you.
I so agree. Listen, keep it all right. So we do a lot of volume monthly, right? Me and my team. And here is what, and people ask me this question all the time, what should I do first? Like, what should I invest in? They get their first flip. Let me ask before I dig into that. Let's just say Randy that just made that comment. He go out here, door knock, he get his first deal, right? He made, let's say, $15,000, $20,000 off that deal. What would be the first tool would it be a tool, a system, a platform, like skip tracing platform, coaching? What would you invest in with that $15,000, $20,000?
I would probably not add anything into the system yet, especially if you just done your first one. It doesn't mean it's going to be the same the second time, right? Mm-hmm. Just keep on, if it works, keep on doing it. Mm-hmm. And then, after a couple of deals, then you start using that money, whatever is necessary, maybe a CRM. Right. Mm-hmm. But I feel like you should need CRM after you did your 10th deal, because if you've done your 10 deals from door knocking, then you got that mindset to deal with that system, right?
Yes.
That makes sense. Then I guess a system would be essential, right? And then there would possibly be
system, meaning CRM system.
Yeah, customer relationship manager. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then skip tracing tool is the next thing, right? I was going to say. So the CRM, the skip tracing tool, which again, you can pick and choose which ones you want, right?
Yeah.
We just now know that True People Search is free and it works, right? So
it's the truth anyhow.
Yeah, you can weigh your options and see which one fits for your situation and for your business.
Yeah.
But again, I don't have a CRM. Like I'm not, even though I've done over 10 deals, I still don't use a CRM just because I don't think we don't have that value. We don't have that volume.
Correct.
So I'm just gonna wait it out. But with the money that I'm earning or getting back from these investments, I'm literally just purchasing the properties on my own. Just keep on investing, basically, right?
Is it just you?
I have my contractor.
It's you and your contractor.
Yeah.
Wow. Keep it simple.
Yeah,
I tell people all the time, keep it simple.
Mm-hmm. Like that shiny object syndrome is real, Just keep it simple, try it on your own first, and you feel like you're stuck, then find someone who knows more than you and work under them.
Yeah.
Provide value and they'll provide value to you, and one day you'll be up in that level.
I love that.
You'll start earning properties.
I love that. True People Search has never failed me. I know that's right. We still use it to this day.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, we still use it.
Yeah.
We have a skip tracing system that my team. So the way my team look, and that's what I was going to tell you. So like, the way I'm saying, I used to have like 2-3 acquisition managers, 2 disposition managers, lead manager. I refer to them as not as cold calls, but lead finders. We would have maybe like 5-6 lead finders at all times. So I had a pretty big team. Man, I've cut it down like since like 2000 end of 2023. It's me, it's Catherine, it's my son. He's basically, we teaching him to be me. You know what I mean? Like one thing I did, and I agree with you about what you just stated. Do the work. How are you going to teach somebody else how to do something if you didn't even really get the reps in yourself to even build up any muscle?
Yeah.
It's just like anything. You basically watched a few people in the gym and you went in and basically do the extra. You try to repeat what you've seen somebody do, but it's nothing like actually getting some coaching and finding out how to do things the right way and then applying it and seeing as to how it really can be effective.
Mm-hmm.
And then getting some reps and some sets up underneath your belt and seeing transformation before you start really trying to coach other people as to what to do and how to do it. Yeah. So, my team again, me, my wife, my son, we have
what do you use for skip tracing?
We use and I'm so far off that I don't even handle that part. My wife handles that part. Megan, Catherine, what do we use currently for skip tracing? Help me out.
Okay.
Batch leads. Okay. So we use batch leads. So they handle all that. So basically,
I've tried that before.
Batch leads. Okay.
Yeah.
So batch leads is good. So we have so Jair handles acquisition, because a lot of time we're buying a lot of stuff. So we utilize the MLS as our disposal system.
Yeah.
So we don't usually, now we do bring in a lot of stuff now to where we have a whole wholesaling department that Jair, my son, runs along with. Awesome. We have a junior acquisition manager. That's my guy, Mav. We have a lead manager. And again, I said operations manager. Did I make mention of that?
Yeah.
And it's like really only like 7 of us, man.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And we're more effective. Protwire. Protwire is good.
I use that too.
Yeah. So, I'm a true believer now. I delegate in order to elevate, because I was doing everything myself. I was handling the skip tracing. I was the closer. I was the everything. I was the acquisitions, I was disposition, I was the listing agent, I was everything.
Yep.
But after a while, I just started hiring talent. And as I started hiring that talent, and it takes a while, man. You know what I mean? I love the way you're doing it right now, keeping it simple, because what you're doing, like I told you, gaining the muscle. So when you do want to basically, the first thing I would recommend is bring you in a good assistant.
Okay.
Before you bring in the acquisition managers, disposition managers, because you can do all that stuff yourself. You can do everything. Because right now you're buying them anyway.
Yeah.
It ain't like you're doing a whole bunch of wholesaling.
Mm-hmm.
You're buying them. So you're utilizing, sort of like we're doing, utilizing the MLS as your dispo, right? But an assistant, man, will come in and make your life, brother. My gosh. Like, you just seen Megan up here with me. That's one of, that's my operations manager, dude. She's a beast. You know what I mean? You seen her. She's talking like she known you, like she known you forever. That's that's.
I like that. That's what you need.
That's what we
need.
That's
the type of vibe you need.
That's what we needed, man.
Which also reflects how you are too. Yeah. It means that you're also a good person.
Yeah, your vibe's gonna attract your tribe, man, and you can't help but to attract great people. You know what I mean? When you're doing great things, you know what I mean, in the industry. When you're doing, you will know when it's right to start delegating. You would know when the time is right.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? And then everybody always trying to scale like they do. I was talking about this with somebody the other day. I had somebody one time and he just started. He was doing dispositions, and then at one point he was on acquisitions, and he was only in the game for maybe less than a year. And then I started hearing him say, "My students." So mind you, this was somebody that was under my team, and I'm like, students? Wait a minute, how do you have students and you still learning?
Yeah.
I'm still trying to get you to get past.
Student.
You still student yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You still barely crossing. You barely doing a few deals a month.
Yep.
Wait till you get about maybe when you hit. It's just keep it simple. That's all I'm saying. Keep it simple, man. Learn something first.
Yeah, because what if okay, on my 12th deal, I end up buying CRM. But I don't have that same volume coming in. So I'm just gonna be paying monthly and not have any deal flow coming. Right.
Yeah,
so then I would just end up quitting on using a CRM,
And the bill collector's gonna come and they knocking on the door every month, no matter what, whether you did a deal or not.
Yeah,
over leverage, and that's what I think a lot of people do. They over leverage themselves, and next thing you know, they have this system, skip tracing. They have a CRM, right?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't hire now. VAs to cold call for them. They didn't hire an assistant, an operation manager. They try to scale too fast, and they look up, and their expenses is more than their income.
Yeah,
and you out of business before you even got started.
And and to be honest with you, I'm going to these events and I'm meeting all these new investors too. I've been hearing that they've been using all these softwares too, but their net worth is not where. Their net worth isn't that really high, right? Mm-hmm. So I think they're just starting off wrong in trying to look for their first deal. They're just attracted by the softwares, and they really just need to keep it simple and keep it traditional, But think about it, deals were still happening a lot by door knocking way back before technology happened,
Yeah.
So it's a proven strategy, but I just don't think a lot of people are doing it now. Just because of the mindset.
Keeping it simple, man. Teamwork makes the dream work. Khalif Robinson, you are absolutely right, brother. Teamwork make the dream work. I totally agree with that, man. Like I am only, I'm able to be in the front line, you know what I mean, and do the things that I love doing, like adding value to people, doing this podcast, going out here on the phone, closing deals and things like that, because of the team that I have behind me, man. And they don't get enough credit because these people that, these gurus and things like that, they never let you know that really it's not them that's really putting in the work. Usually people that's not the ones that claim that they're doing what they say they're doing. You know what I mean? It's all these people that be claiming they doing this. And that's why I used to respect Steve Train shows. He's like, HUD up or shut up. Show me the HUDs, Mr. $200,000, $300,000 a month. Show me the HUDs before you can come on this show.
Never heard that before. HUD up or shut up.
Yeah, HUD up or shut up.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? Because the real people, I tell you, man, real bosses, real money, they ain't doing all that talking. Mm-hmm. They ain't telling you. I never, on any of my videos, you never hear me. When people ask me, and in fact, when I even go about it, I never say numbers. And I think I did it one time where I pulled up a HUD and I walked them through the deal. And that was on Deal Machine. But I never go around talk about, oh yeah, you know what I mean? Look at this 6-figure check we just now made. And I'm posting on social media. Or I'm the guy, you know what I mean, with the globs of, stacks of money next to my ear. Look at what we doing. Like, I just think that's so corny, even to the point where, I had somebody come to me like, yo, man, we go viral and we do this. And I'm like, viral doing this? But I was like, doing that is not who I am. You know what I mean? I'd rather not have no followers. I can never go viral because I don't care about that stuff. I'm dead serious, bro. I'm that guy that's delivered from the opinions of man. For real, for real. I don't care whether I get 1 like, 1 heart, long as what I put out, I know that I'm really adding value to people, and one person was able to benefit from that, my job was done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My job was done. I'm not the guy that's out here trying to be the next nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Only why I started this podcast, because this is something that God has literally told me to do a while ago. And even because of me being all busy, traveling and all over the place, I just really had to, you even see now that I've been able to sit down, focus, I've been able to, I launched this thing, and it's going to be big because I just feel as though that I'm coming from a genuine perspective of not just basically putting people on this platform to talk about how much money they make and how they're doing it, but also just about what you talked about, relationships, treating people the way that you want to be treated. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me ask you this question, man. We about to go ahead and round. We about to go. Hey guys, we make it much more complicated than what it takes to get a deal. In all reality, takes in all is he said, wait, get a deal, and all it takes is relationship and conversation with people every day. There it is, man. Sorry guys, the screen is so showing me the letters so small, man. I can barely even catch that. But no, good feedback. We make it harder and more complicated than what it actually is, guys. Like Catherine just said, it really is simple when you keep it simple, guys. Like she said, it's really about just relationships and conversations every day. Relationships and conversations. That's all we're doing, guys. That's all I do every day is just get on the phone and build relationships and have conversations with real people. And it's pretty much what Jose is saying he's doing as well. He's just doing it in a different way. He's going and he's knocking doors. And he's saying, hey, is there, are you interested in selling a house? If it's a no, okay, great. Do you know of anybody that may be interested in selling a house? How can I add value to somebody? Because today may be a no, but next month, next year, 2 years from now, may be a yes. And if you just at the top of mind, out of sight, out of mind, if you can just basically meet somebody and just offer, because when we meet people that may be in a situation, we don't just, we're not just buyers. We also let people know we lend too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it might, there's a foreclosure situation or something like that. Like, how can we really add value? And we add the options. There's always the options. Have you looked into the option of maybe doing a modification?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the conversations that's being had when we talk to them. Like, have you looked into maybe getting a private money loan? Do you really want to sell this house? If so, do you have a place to transition to? Yeah. Really just trying to add value to people, man.
I wanted to add this too before when we're talking about door knocking. If you really are scared of door knocking, another strategy you can apply is find someone who is door knocking. Like, for example, roofers. They door knock also. People that sell solar panels.
They always
and teach them what you were trying to do and have them door knock the houses for you.
That's true.
Right? That's true. Because they already developed that mentality to go door knock houses. So why not just door knock yours? And we pay them some sort of fee on top of that if the deal closes.
That's so true. That's so true. Man. It's been a blessing. Guys, listen, again, we are bringing people that's focused in this season, in this era of their lives, right? Mind, body, and soul, guys, not just building up their business and building up their real estate business, but building up their minds and helping other people to do the same in the process, guys. That's what this podcast is going to be about. If you're interested in maybe even coming on and joining the podcast, guys, drop me a DM. You know what I mean? If you have a story that you want to share with the public that you think is going to inspire others, man, and you're a true go-giver, no ulterior motives, man, and you're really trying to get back to people and inspire people, man, inbox me. Let's go ahead and talk about it. I have a few awesome people lined up that I'm excited about, man. I got a couple great hitters, man. I'm going to bring them. I don't want to spoil the alert, but we're going to talk a little bit about, not only just buying houses sub too, but how you can also buy your car sub too as well.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got my man coming on. That's going to drop some gems. Not this week, because this week I'm going to be at, letting it, taking a break, but next week, the following week, I'm going to be bringing on the next guest, man. So again, guys, make sure y'all comment, share the video, guys, share the podcast. We're going to be is on YouTube. Go to my YouTube channel, Rob Van Harris, guys. Man, drop some fire bombs, some hand claps, man, if you enjoyed the podcast, guys. Make sure y'all check out my man, Jose Reyes, guys. Like he said, man, I'm going to make sure that I leave his link there, his Instagram, his Facebook, so y'all can follow his movement, man. I'm telling you, the guy, what I told you from the beginning, what I love about him is he's consistent and he's honest. He didn't come on here making it seem like he was just basically doing this, that, and the other. He's not really doing it. No, he's really doing it. He's door knocking. Every time I see him, he's telling me, like, this is what he does. And then I see him. I see him on social media. I see him doing it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I hear about him. We same friends. He's really doing what he said he's doing. Thank y'all, man. You know, with the fire bombs, the gems, man, all of that, man. We appreciate the audience. We appreciate you, man, for joining us. Guys, make sure y'all tune my man, Craig, Khalid. Appreciate y'all, man. Make sure y'all continue to stay tuned in, man, to Rob Van Harris podcast. I appreciate y'all, man. Let's continue to go and grow. I'll see y'all on the next video. Let's get it.